Every day hustle like William, I'm charging the chicken just for the verse, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I won't.
Man and I don't get along because we share some of the similar viewpoints. And in this clip here that I'm going to be releasing of Angry Man, he's talking about some of the things that he thinks is wrong with the black community, and primarily he's saying that he thinks that there is some inbreeding going on in the black community that's causing some problems. It's a rather interesting take, a take that I haven't even made, but I challenge you to take a listen to this and tell me what you think.
Shit would nobody say. I believe this has contributed to a lot of the deficiencies generationally, because slavery wasn't that long ago. And I'm telling you right now, there's a bunch of people in these predominantly black cities. A lot of them are linking up with people that's related to them, and they don't know it. And the reason they don't know it is because of how erratic and how disorganized our family structures are now. If you've ever bred dogs, here's one thing you know for a fact. If you inbreed those dogs, you can get two results. You can get the result that's bad, which is genetic defects and all of that shit, or you can get the other result, which is inbreeding makes them meaner and crazy because the bloodline is too close together. I don't care what nobody's saying. I believe the same thing happens because, see, this is what people believe. People believe that every time human beings inbreed, it's always going to end up with some mental defects or some sort of deformity. It doesn't always do that. Sometimes the baby will come out with no deformities, no problems whatsoever. They'll seem normal, but their temperament will be different. Their temperament will be bad. You feel me? I don't care what nobody say. I believe that's something that as a group, a lot of us are suffering from, and we just don't know it. There is something fundamentally wrong with the way black people think. The way black people think is ass backwards. There is something terribly wrong. And instead of diagnosing the shit so that it can get fixed, there's always somebody making an excuse for the shit. You know how hard I've been fighting to be a damn millionaire? Do you know how hard my ass has been working to be a millionaire? And I'm sitting back watching dudes get their hands on millions of dollars, drive whatever kind of car they want to drive, could live in whatever kind of house they want to live in, can pretty much do whatever they want to do. Some of them even got enough money to fly private. They can fly private jets and all types of shit and just live whatever lifestyle they want to live. And they choose to live the type of lifestyle that I could live with no money. All that ghetto ass, ignorant ass shit that them niggas is doing. And I talked about this last night. Why is it you can display this I don't care attitude when it comes to the debauchery of the community, but you don't have that same I don't care attitude when it comes to my critique of the debauchery of the community? See, at this point, it's almost like you're enabling it. Because if I'm speaking against something, that's just like if a house is on fire and I come running up with a bucket of water and you're trying to stop me from and I got to keep going back to this. The culture is trash. If we were to ask right now, what does the typical family look like today? Does the typical black family look like the Winslows? Does it look like Family Matters? Does the typical family look like the Huxtable family? And you want to know what's so crazy about it? In 2026, with all of the black folks that went to college and the whole college boom and black women running around talking about the most educated because of their degrees and shit, the average black household in 2026 should look like the Huxtable household, but it doesn't. Now, if any of you Negroes on YouTube want to tell me that we're not declining, if any of you want to tell me that everything's just fine and we're doing better than we've ever done, man, you can sell that lie to somebody else. But what's funny to me is how we love to pretend. We love pretending as a group of people. We love to act like we don't know. We don't know. Do y'all really think that we are promoting anything in the black community other than bullshit. They're saying it. That's why you need to know what your history is. That's why you need to know. So you don't end up having a kid with your cousin. That's why you need to know your damn history. That's why it's important to know your history. And see, here's the thing. When I was having a conversation with my wife, right? And this is what I said to her. I said, you know what? I can say this to you because I'm not on a live stream. I said, you want to know what the real problem is with them niggas out there? A lot of them are, you know what? I ain't gonna say what the word is. Y'all know what the word is. It starts with a R and it sounds like the word you use when you're late for class. That's the problem. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of that comes from inbreeding. That a lot of that comes from incest. I bet you any amount of money. Now, here's the sad part. The sad part is when you look at the history of slavery, how much of that happened during Reconstruction? Because if you remember, during the slave trade, families were separated and the name they were given was the last name of their slave owner. So if you were part of this plantation and your last name was Johnson, because it was the Johnson plantation, if you had a kid and they sold that kid to another plantation and the plantation they sold it to, the last name was something else, now that kid has a new last name. So during Reconstruction, when everybody's free and everybody starts building their black communities, how would you know if you not getting with one of your relatives? You wouldn't know. And I don't give a shit what nobody say. I believe this has contributed to a lot of the deficiencies generationally, because slavery wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago. Now, you add that on top of the fact that you have all of this single mama-ism. So guess what? Let's say Rodney, in this day and age, gets with Keisha. He only was with Keisha a week, but he smashed Keisha and got her pregnant. And Keisha has a daughter, right? Keisha has a daughter named Tanya. But Rodney is...
You know, yesterday I was in one of my properties. I was going through doing my daily checks, and I heard this couple loudly having sex. And I've shown the guy on the stream who was having sex with the woman. I didn't see the woman, but here's a black guy in the middle of the day having sex, and he's a, you know, doesn't look like a professional. He's a terrible looking black guy. I ran into him nonetheless. But here he is having sex in the middle of the day with some Keisha, as Angry Man would call her.
Still out here sticking and moving in the same city. He messes around and gets another chick pregnant, and that chick has a son. And that chick's son name is Michael. Now, unbeknownst to Michael, him and Tanya are brother and sister. They have the same father, but they have different mamas. But because Keisha don't know that Rodney got this other woman pregnant, her daughter, Tanya, grows up and she's out here in the club having a good time, and she bumps into Michael, and Michael looks at her and he finds her attractive. They go have a one-night stand and Tanya get pregnant. Tanya don't even know. Her and Michael got the same damn father. How would she know? And this is what Bill Cosby meant during that pound cake speech when he said, if you keep this up, you're not even going to know who your grandmama is. You're not even going to know who your family members are. There's a bunch of people in these predominantly black cities. A lot of them are linking up with people that's related to them, and they don't know it. And the reason they don't know it is because of how erratic and how disorganized our family structures are now. With all of this baby mama-ism, single mama-ism. Hell, there's kids out here that don't even know who their father is. That's been going on for a couple of generations. They don't even know who their father. So if you don't know who your father is, how the hell would you know who you related to? You think he stopped messing with women when he messed with your mama? No. Dudes out here spreading their seed. And then you end up with a kid that ain't right in the head and you wondering why. And let me tell you something that people don't realize. And I only know this from at one point I was really into pit bulls, right? And you people love to breed pit bulls, right? If you've ever bred dogs, here's one thing you know for a fact. If you inbreed those dogs, you can get two results. You can get the result that's bad, which is genetic defects and all of that shit, or you can get the other result, which is inbreeding makes them meaner and crazy because the bloodline is too close together. I don't care what nobody say. I believe the same thing happens because see, this is what people believe. People believe that every time human beings inbreed, it's always going to end up with some mental defects or some sort of deformity. It doesn't always do that. Sometimes the baby will come out with no deformities, no problems whatsoever. They'll seem normal, but their temperament will be different. Their temperament will be bad. You feel me? I don't care what nobody say. I believe that's something that as a group, a lot of us are suffering from, and we just don't know it.
Man. Once again, I am John Galt, the Urban Landlord. Thank you for joining.
And I'm glad that I'm here, G. But it's fucked up I had to lose an eye to see shit clearly.